is Go Big Orange Talk. You got yourself here with Smokey Vaughn and
Mr. Happy Hour.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wanted to, just bring everybody on here, just kind of give everybody a little bit of time to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about the NIL. Do you agree with it? Do you think it's good or bad? The portal, good, bad, or indifferent? What a 12-team playoff is going to look like, and what we're going to be, kind of exposed to. I love this song, everybody. Yeah.
Went in and yourself.
Yes, sir. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get started here. Again, this is Go Big Orange Talk with Smokey Vaughn.
Mr. Happy Hour.
Mr. Happy Hour.
Had to hear that first part before we stopped it. Okay, stop. Leave. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get everything kicked off here. Again, kind of gave us a little bit of, a lowdown of what's going to happen, NIL, the portal, and what the 2024 playoffs is going to look like. I've introduced us twice already, so I don't think we have to do any more introductions. Everybody loved Mr. Happy Hour's hat there, sir. Love it, GBO. But yeah, I guess I'll open up the segment here. I think that here's my take on it. I'm probably going to get a lot of hell for this, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, like we've said many a times, you can turn the speakers down, go to the next show, and see what else you might like out there. But the NIL to me is something wonderful. I love the NIL. I think that people that don't really enjoy it or like it are going to be the people that have been on top forever. Alabama probably doesn't like it. I don't think that there's a whole lot of Georgia people out there that like it either, because what it does is the NIL makes other teams competitive. And I don't think that a lot of people know this, but Tennessee is within the top 10 most profitable schools, and I think that kind of goes without saying on what we've already done in the NIL. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. Absolutely, I would. I think I like the NIL thing. I think if you're going to profit off of somebody's name, likeness, and image, that they should get some type of share out of it. However, I think that little bit of divide in the locker room with Tennessee headed into the South Carolina game, I think a lot of that had to do with the NIL and how lopsided it can be for primary position players and, other players. I think that causes a divide and a rip in a locker room. Like, I was looking at it right here, and for Tennessee alone, this is just Tennessee. You have the top, you have top Tennessee NIL players. Number one is Hendon Hooker. His valuation is about $1.1 million. You want to know about where Jeremy Banks is? He's barely top 10. He's number 9, and he's making $123,000. To play in football when you weren't making anything at all at one point, to go to $123,000, that's better than nothing. But I kind of get an idea of how he feels when he sees him making $123,000, and then you see a quarterback making, $1.1 million. But the quarterback position carries the most weight of all the positions. It's outside of the coach. You're the first one that catches all the blame, and over any other player. You know what I'm saying? So there should be a little bit more of a payday there, but when it comes down to it, it should be a a closer gap, in my opinion. And then like the second, third string, fourth string offensive linemen should make a lot more than what they're probably making now. So that's my opinion on the whole NIL. But
Yeah, I think that you nailed it on the head there. I mean, the quarterback is definitely going to take more heat than anybody else. Jeremy Banks could be upset about that all day, but at the end of the day, he doesn't.
Speculation. I don't know how true that is. That's just one of the many rumors flying around about that locker room incident. So,
well, it's very likely to be true because it comes into envy, it comes into jealousy, it comes into a bunch of different things. But like you said, a quarterback is the next thing to what's going to be, pointed blame and, things in that nature. Oh, he didn't get rid of the ball quick enough, or, he should have ran out of bounds when they had 5 seconds and not 1. Things like that. A quarterback is essentially going to be the second. It's going to be the second person that's going to get all the blame for what has happened. And props off to them. I mean, for real, for being able to handle that. Absolutely. But yeah, I think that the NIL is definitely helping the league a lot more than what people see it to be. But, like I said, the people that have been up there for the past 12 years, they're not liking it because it does bring in more competitiveness, and that's my opinion. And everybody that watches this that's Georgia or Alabama or any other team is probably going to say, no, we just think it's ruined football, period. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think that it's gonna help recruits all across the country, not just Tennessee, but that top 20 that's most profitable is what's going to really help a lot. But
for instance, let's the top 10 NIL deals across the whole board. Number one, would you even know who number one is?
Yeah, I think it's actually Young, isn't it, from Alabama this year?
Yeah. At $3.5 million. And then on Bama's team, you know who number 2 is? Will Anderson Jr. And I think he's making a little bit less than Young. Number 2 is Caleb Williams at 3.2. CJ Stroud's 2.4. Number 4 is Bijan Robinson at 1.7. Number 5 is Will Anderson at 1.7. Marvin Harrison Jr. 1.5. Shooter Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, $1.5 million. That's kind of crazy, ain't it? I would have imagined people being ahead of him, but Stetson Bennett's actually number 8 at $1.3 million. That's a shocker, to be honest with you. Jordan Addison at $1.2 million. He's the wide receiver for Southern California, and the number 10 is Blake Corum for Michigan, and then you got Hendon Hooker just outside of the top 10 at $1.1 million. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. I would have not. Oh, sorry about that. Trying to get this mic in place here, but yeah, I would have never thought that it would have been that lopsided on that end for sure. But I tell you what, I hate bringing this up every time we get on here, but you know who's going to be who eclipses those numbers? Mr. Nico. Yes, sir. He's taking Young's spot and add another $5 million to that, or $4.5 million to that 3.5 that Mr. Young got from Alabama, and Nico is topping out at $8 million. I mean, that's a lot of money for a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. I will agree, but I mean,
making 3.5.
Who?
Arch Manning is making right now, as it stands, I guess for high school itself. Arch Manning is at $3.5 million, and then Nico's at 1.1.
Oh wow. Oh, is that so? Is that 8 million? Is that spread across? Is that what that is?
I think it kind of makes you wonder if it is spread across for each, like a salary, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's how that works, and if that's it, then good God, I think they're probably going to be overpaying for Archie Manning.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Crazy.
I definitely do. They're paying for the name, like you
Yeah.
said on a couple of podcasts back, for sure.
Yep. I hope for his sake, he's he turns out to be worth all the work, or like all the hype. But man, I'm telling you, I've been watching and reading a lot of things where it seems like it's just the name that got him, because you take the name, and if his last name was Smith, would he still be the number one quarterback player nationally, or would he be 4-star?
I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. I think that's just part of being the name. Which, I mean, look, Peyton Manning is awesome. Eli was awesome. They both had a phenomenal career, and I think that their brother would have had too. If it wasn't for the injuries and things of that nature. But
They say Cooper was the better of them all. He was a receiver, but he was the best of them all.
Yeah, was he a tight? I think he was. Was he a tight end or was he a wide receiver? He was a wide receiver.
And fun fact, why Peyton Manning? That's the whole reason why Peyton Manning wore 18 was because that was Cooper Manning's number.
Oh, when he went to the professionals and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. No, I did not know that. But again, guys, we are going to move on to the next segment, which is the portal. What you guys think on it, what we think on it, what are your thoughts on that? But again, before we get started, I did just want to go ahead and mention, please, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, like,
Share.
share it, hit the button there, the bell to remind you, and again, share.
I'm about to copy and paste my Cash App and Venmo info down there.
Hey, we probably both should. I mean,
I would.
Yeah, I think whenever we get the live feed going on YouTube, I think that is an option that we can add in. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, I opened up on the portal. Mr. Happy, I'm going to let you go ahead and open up. I opened up on the NIL. Open up on the portal for us, and then I'll jump in when you get finished, buddy.
So, my opinion on the transfer portal, between liking or disliking, I got to say I like it. Right now, more for a bias reason, because it sped up Tennessee's progression in the last couple of years, because if not for the transfer portal back in a couple of years ago, I guarantee you Tennessee probably honestly would not have been like 7-7. I think they ended up the season 7-7 or 7-6, something like that. So that wouldn't have happened that way. We probably honestly would have won the amount of, like, maybe 3 or 4 games. I hate to say it, but truth. And then I think it sped the progression of this year up to 10-2, hopefully 11-2. But however, I think with all the chaos surrounding the portal, with a player just like being able to transfer, like, I get if you commit to a team and then a coaching staff or a member of the coaching staff like leaves before you even get there, and then you want to give that a shot just to see how it goes, and then it turns out it wasn't the fit that you originally thought it was going to be with the other coach, and you want to transfer after a year. I think personally you probably honestly, because for one, when you first get there, your first year, and you decide to transfer because you weren't a starter or whatever, are they just recruiting you off of your ranking at that point? Because you really don't have a showcasing to kind of get an idea of how sought out you should be. So I feel like being able to transfer like 3 or 4 times or more. Because I think I remember seeing that there's a couple players who have transferred at least 3 or 4 times since the first transfer portal availability opened. That is insane. Like, for one, how could the third school? I mean, you would have to be really good to just be able to do that, because at that point it's like, well, why are we even going to take a chance on this guy if he's just going to jump ship for whatever reason? I feel like you should get 2 transfers to your name. The second one, you need to know that that's the fit that you're going to want. And I get the whole coaching change could happen, but understand that happens in the NFL. And you're not going to be able to just always say, hey, I want to trade. I don't like it here. I want to trade. You might be able to get away with it at some point, but some people, some GMs and some owners are going to make you honor your contract. What are you teaching these kids in college that they can just bail because the team's not winning or whatever? You should probably get that idea. But for me, I feel like how Bama and Jordan, you can call me a hater all you want to. I don't care. But, like, I get players want to win. But, like, one thing that I respect about Arch Manning is Texas hasn't really been that great of a team in years. They might have had some winning seasons here and there, but they haven't been dominant. Exactly. So, one thing I respect about Arch Manning, is it Arch or Archie at this point? I think Archie is the dad, the grandfather. Yeah. Arch Manning. Yeah. So, with him, I respect him because he could have went to Bama, could have went to Georgia. He could have went anywhere, but he chose Texas. I feel like the reason he did that is the same reason I would have picked a different team, is because I want to be a huge reason why that program is winning. I don't want to go to where I inherit a national championship. I want to go where I was the huge difference maker and where my name is going to live out forever in that program, like Peyton Manning. Like Tennessee, they were good in the 90s, but still, though, he could have went to Ole Miss, whatever, but he chose Tennessee. He wanted to build his own legacy. Like, when you go to Bama, I mean, unless you're like a Bryce Young player or Julio Jones, like, I don't know. It's just me. Like, I just feel like you should go somewhere where the reason the team wins is because of you and not because you inherited the wins because of all these other 5 stars before you. Like, I feel like, to a degree, there should be some type of system set where the talent can be spread out, because it's just to see one team. Like, even if it was Tennessee, man, like, after a couple of years, I would love it, but it gets boring to automatically assume that you know the team that's going to make it to the national championship every freaking year. It's annoying. It's it's not that I just hate Bama. It's that I hate a consistent, like it's the same reason I hate the Dodgers. They're in the race every year. They may not make it to the World Series, but you typically know they're going to make it to the NLCS. Mm-hmm. It's annoying. So that's my number one thing about the transfer portal. And then now that you have, like, Georgia, like, you had Kirby Smart talking shit at one point to a degree, saying that they don't use the transfer portal, and then they go and get the top 2 fucking wide receivers in the transfer portal. I feel like they knew Tennessee had been sought after, or they were sought after by Tennessee. I feel like they knew that they were fucked if Tennessee got them, because Tennessee obviously knows how to develop wide receivers. They've done it the last 2 or 3 seasons already. So you get those 2 receivers, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, it's fucking over. Like, especially if Milton has a really good year next year. I'm telling you, I think Kirby Smart knew that, and I think that's a big reason why he probably went after him, because And I remember reading something where it said he came out with an explanation as to why. How are you going to talk shit about people using the transfer portal and that you don't believe in using the transfer portal? You believe in developing your own talent. Like, I respect the whole developing your own talent. Now, if he would have never said shit about the transfer portal, I wouldn't have an argument. Like, I understand, and I feel like the transfer portal mainly should be for depth use. And that's why Tennessee used it. If Tennessee didn't go through what they went through a couple of years ago, they might not use it as much. But Tennessee only used it for depth use. That's it. And
they didn't. They didn't have anything. They didn't have anything, and that's what
37 players transfer out. You had to do something, and you're not going to get all the players that fit your system through high school prospects at that point, because by that time it's too late. You have all the good ones saying, "Oh shit, there's a cluster fucking Tennessee. I don't want to be a part of that," because 9 times out of 10, it's going to take them damn near a decade to crawl out of that hole. But that's the good thing about the transfer portal is it was able to speed up that progression, and that's why Tennessee was able to do what they did. So let's reiterate, that wouldn't have happened without the transfer portal. So to a degree, I like it, but I think that they need to be some type of regulations that hinder like three plus transfers. I think each player should have two chances, and that's it. And I feel like it's way out of hand. I think last year there was 3,000 players on the transfer portal, and then you can build. And so I do like it. I feel like the first transfer should be due to, for a player, should be for a better fit. If like I said, you get to a program, it wasn't the fit you thought it was going to be. You do your extensive research. You find a school that you feel better about the fit, and then transfer. Not just because it was the winning program. You want to be a part of that national championship that that they're 9 times out of 10 going to be a part of, and then you get there and you're promised, because every kid 9 times out of 10 promise that they're going to be the difference maker. They're going to be that kid in high school that everybody expects to be that guy, and then you get to college and then you're like, oh fuck, I'm just a number on a depth chart, and then you don't start. You might not start for another 2 years, and then you want to transfer back out of there. You should know that going in.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
So
I agree all day long. I think that, I do like it. I do like it, but to a degree. I think that the NIL is totally different than the portal. I think that the portal should be a limit 3 to 5 players.
Wait, what do you mean 3 to 5 players?
I mean, 3 to 5 moves, and then that should be it for that person. You know what I'm saying?
Man, 3 to 5 different transfer opportunities.
I don't know, 3 to 5 per team allows 3 to 5 kids.
I don't know about that. I mean, for instance, the Texas A&M deal. If you were to do that, if you were to implement that regulation, then you're setting Texas A&M back. I think the only real way to fix that problem right there would be to either 1, replace Jimbo Fisher, or 2, make him offensive coordinator or something where he doesn't have the power, but he has the opportunity to recruit, because he can recruit, clearly. But I think a part of that recruiting was just due to the whole NIL, because Texas is such a huge, huge marketing. Because, you got Dallas, you got Houston, you got – God, there's another one. There's more that I'm not thinking.
Quite a few. You got quite a few.
Yeah, a lot of big cities that are really known and that create a lot of revenue for that state. And so, they have a lot of money to play with. They're probably, outside of California and Florida, they're probably top 3 in that deal with NIL. Obviously you got the Texas Longhorns that probably accumulate a big mass of that revenue, but I'm just saying, like, if not for being able to have more than 3 to 5 transfers in one cycle, Texas A&M would be fucked. They would be in the biggest clusterfuck, and they really need to find a way of finding another head coach that can develop the players, because Jimbo Fisher just ain't it. Give me his track record. I guarantee you can't give me a really good winning season out of him.
No, there's I don't think so either. The college football most valuable programs, it starts out with Oklahoma at $101 million, and then Texas is at $97, Georgia $85 million. We got Notre Dame at 4th with $83, Michigan $72, Alabama $61. Tennessee made the top 8 at $60, but right behind them is Texas A&M at $55. So the top 10 with the Utes and Arkansas being the 10th. They got some money to play with for sure.
Oh, my bad. So Jimbo Fisher does have one national championship under his belt, and that's with Florida State back in 2013. If I'm not mistaken, that's right around the time that Jameis Winston was a part of that team. And I think
that was
Devontae Freeman. So
yeah, that was with that was with Chicken Legs. That was with him for sure. Yeah, man, it's like you said. I like the portal. I think that there is some good and bad in there.
Oh yeah, there's always pros and cons and everything.
Oh yeah, it's just like the NIL. I just really don't have anything bad to really say about it, because that's the initial start, and then if they want to move on and go somewhere else, that's where the portal kind of comes into play at. And typically that'll be, if they want to go, it'll be the next year, or it'll be whatever the case may be in a couple of years or whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's a good thing. I think that sometimes it should be closed off, because when they get to the NFL, the portal deal is not going to happen, especially for their rookie contract with about 4 to 6 years. They're not going to be able to make any kind of decisions that that they're making in college right now. They're not going to be used to that. They get mad or pissed off, or whatever the case is, and then they want to switch. This is not college anymore. You got to finish out that contract.
Yeah.
But I think that we both made some really valuable points there on the portal for sure. I like it. I like it a lot. Like it. So again, we're going to move on to our next segment. This will be our final segment. And guys, again, before we get started, like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell to know whenever we do go live. Start going live. And like I said, we're trying to do the live stream tonight. We got to figure out a few kinks on that. Hey, look, we started out on this thing here, and we had some kinks to work out. We worked it out. We're going to work it out to get it fixed, and we'll be on that live stream, so you can just be a click away. And that way you're not having to download this app to watch. Again, just so we can carry on, make this thing go as long as possible. Like, subscribe, share with everybody that you know.
If you like, we do like, share, and subscribe, please.
Yep. Yes, please.
So y'all can pay our bills.
Hey man, I had to do it. I say that on TikTok all the time. But anyways, guys, we'll move on to the very last segment tonight here, and we won't keep it too long. Just kind of dig in a little bit with our next topic and kind of what we came into and, talked about a little bit. We are going to move on to what are the playoffs going to look like in 2024 with a 12-team lineup. I love the 12-team playoffs. I think it's going to make everything a lot more competitive. I think that, teams that may not have had a chance or thought they didn't have a chance go in and just make it a chance. It'll be a little bit more like the NFL, not completely the same, but it will be a little bit like it. But I love it. I absolutely love the 12-team playoffs. I think it deserves a clap. Yep. Alrighty. So, Mr. Happy Hour, give us your lowdown, what you think about the 12-team playoffs in 2024. Tell us, give us a little bit of points there, your likes, your dislikes, if you have any. Just kind of tell us a little bit about what you think about the top 4 teams getting a chance to opt out the first week and having to wait on, the other 8s to complete. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm kind of at a love-hate because obviously this year it would have absolutely benefited Tennessee and other teams like Tennessee, especially in with advised moments like when you go to rank them ahead of Tennessee. Just imagine if Tennessee would have been top 5, or imagine if they would have been top 6, and they decided to take TCU out. TCU got blown the hell out. Tennessee would have made the playoffs, as they should have ahead of Bama. I get the whole, Hendon Hooker got hurt. The South Carolina game, that dreadful fucking game, God bless. I get it. But if you're going to say, well, because Tennessee got blown out the way that they did, Ohio State had the same thing happen to them in their home fucking stadium. I kind of feel like that's worse because South Carolina at least, continued. I get if they would have beat the ever-living shit out of Tennessee and then following week they go to Clemson and lose bad in the same fashion, maybe I would give y'all a leg to stand on about that is brutal for Tennessee. But no, you had, and I get Clemson wasn't nowhere near the team that they have been in recent years, but South Carolina beats the shit out of Tennessee, then goes to Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, in Clemson's home stadium, beats the shit, or doesn't beat the shit out of them, but still beats them, and then has a winning record and is eligible for a bowl game. When they weren't expected that. And I get Spencer Rattler's game, that game wasn't as good as it was against Tennessee, but, we all knew Tennessee's secondary was shit this year, after the Florida game. I think Anthony, don't get me wrong, I think Anthony Richardson has raw talent that he could give and offer a team, but he wasn't as good as that. He wasn't as good as Tennessee secondary made him out to be. Everybody projects Will Levis to be a top-ranked quarterback coming out of the draft this year. That's a joke. But we held him under 100 yards. So, Spencer Rattler was projected to be a big-time player. I think he just needed the right fit, and I think South Carolina can offer that to him. But now, next year, I don't know because you have their one of their top receivers leaving the program, and Jaheim Bell, he's a tight end, and then you got their primary running back trying to transfer out of there. So, what are they going to look like next year? So I don't know. I just imagine a playoff bracket with teams that shouldn't be in the playoff, and they are there, and then they get hot at the right time, and then they go and win the national championship. Like, that's like, you can't say that they didn't earn it because they made it through a brutal playoff, but at the same time, it's like when you got teams like Clemson who has been shit all year, and then they would be knocked out of the playoffs, and then they come back and they get hot at the right time and they beat the hell out of everybody and win it all. That is going to piss me off, probably. But for me, as long as Georgia and Ohio State and Bama don't win, I don't give a shit. So
there you go.
I think if you're going to do a 12-team playoff, then the 4 top-ranked teams should get a bye and go that route. So, I really don't. Yeah. I mean, I like Tennessee's odds of making it to the playoffs at that point, if I'm looking at it from a biased Tennessee standpoint. But when it comes down to it, I really don't have like a I love it or I hate it thing. I'm kind of on the fence. We'll see. Ask me that in 2024 if Tennessee makes it or not, and then if they get beat by like the number 12 team. Ask me then. I might have a different answer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I do like it, of course, because of my orange sunglasses. They definitely come through because we would have been in the top 6. And that's kind of, we barely missed it this year. But, we've talked about it many times. Heupel, people, look at Heupel and they're like, man, this is crazy. This is the second year, and the first year, I feel like that, and I'm not being biased when I say this, but that bowl game, I think we clearly passed. We got the touchdown. His knee was not down. I'll never forget that. But, I mean, for a coach to go – what was that?
I caught the tail end of that. What game were we talking about?
So what I was saying is like, so for our coach to take us to 7 wins this first year and then to 10 the next year, and we were just 2 spots off from hitting the playoffs, and noting, hey, he's right there. He's right on the cusp of it. I've heard so many different people on YouTube talk about Coach, talk about, the program moving on and things in that nature. And again, just the whole thing. I mean, it's pretty remarkable what he did in 2 years. And then, we've had coaches that brought us to that point, but it wasn't in the second year. It was in the 4th, 5th year, and then just absolutely just tank it. Yeah, and then just tank it.
I think the Bush Jones era was probably our best era, outside of the obvious, the 90s. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I'm definitely. I mean, I think next year that coming in, I think that a lot of things will change.
I think that he has a different energy about him. He seems like he legitimately actually knows how to develop players. Where Butch Jones only knew how to recruit to a degree, and then Derek Dooley just, God bless his poor soul. I don't know how he got that hiring, but
he was not his daddy. He was not his daddy.
I feel like Heupel gives a different type of energy. I feel like he actually he like my first season. I honestly expected us to barely get 2 wins, to be honest with you, and then the magic happened. We progressed. We outshined the original assumption of what we were going to get, and then I still was kind of in doubts year 2, and then I was just started seeing how we were playing. Like, the offense was great the whole season, with the exception of, even against the South Carolina game, the offense, we scored nearly 38 points. On any other day, that's a win. That secondary and that defense lost us that game. So, but anyway, year two, halfway through the season, I mean, even the Florida game, I wasn't nearly like, oh yeah, we have a chance for it to be in our year. It was the LSU game. Like you can say it's at noon. I don't care. That's their fucking fans' faults for not making it to the stadium and getting crunk. Like, I mean, that's not our fault. That's their fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I just,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That game is whenever I really started believing. And then Bama, I was like, oh shit, maybe, just maybe. So, and then the Georgia game happened, which you still could have made a national championship out of that one loss. And it just got worse after a point. So, I don't know.
You know, there's a lot of what ifs and could, and there's a bunch about that happened. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm just extremely excited for the coming years. I'm really excited to come into our own here and really just make a big swing at this thing next year. And a lot of people are going to give us hell because I say next year because it's always next year.
It's always this year. Well, I mean, that's how most fucking teams are. You get eliminated. That's what you got. That's what you're reduced to saying. What the fuck else are you going to say?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
But I mean, that's how it was for every team. That's why I don't let that shit bother me because Georgia went through their year where all they got was fucking 10-win seasons. They had some of the greatest recruiting classes ever that just could never find a way to make it to the national championship. They make it to the SEC championship just to lose to fucking Bama. And then you have Bama, times where Bama sucked for a while. So, I'm okay with, I'm okay right now with a 10-2, possibly 11-3 with a bowl game win because of where we're supposed to be at. But after I'd say next year, if we're not progressing or at the very least getting another 10-win season and we go down to like an 8-win season, that's what I'm going to have a problem with. But 2024 is a year where I'm just like projecting that if we don't do nothing big next year and we really regress to like a 7 or an 8-win season, that's where I'm going to have a problem because by that point we should be in really good contention.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. We should. We 100% should. Mr. Happy Hour, I think that we did an excellent segment tonight. I really hate that, we couldn't get the YouTube live coming up and, things of that nature. But again, we will get that mastered. We will do everything in our power to get that going. It's been a real pleasure tonight to speak to everybody. It's been just a phenomenal time. And again, guys, I want to just again say thank you for the support. We don't have nearly the views that, I thought we would. But again, we are so close to what our goals are. By January the 15th, let's try to hit that 1,000 mark. Let's try to get there. Let's try to hit the 1,000. Let's try to get to 50 subscribers by the mid-January. We've got 15 right now, guys. Let's get that. Let's get that going, so we can, come into these things. We could just keep this going. Just like, share, subscribe. And again, guys, it's been an honor to speak with everybody. I mean, it's just it's just awesome to come on here and talk to everybody. It's awesome to be a part of, Vol Nation. And I just want to say, go Big Orange, baby.
Go Big Orange.
That's right. Have a good one, everybody. Sincerely yours, Smokey Vaughn.